Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker. Thank you so much for joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And I will tell you, it always makes me excited when my alma mater starts to do things better and differently, learning from situations that maybe we can get better at, and just looking at the past and seeing how we can make a better and brighter future. So I welcome into the program Jerad David. Jerad is the Director of Communications and the University Spokesman for Nicholls State University. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Always great to be here.
We appreciate it. And, you know, it's just one of those things where we've been talking for the last 2 years about how higher education has just gotten kicked in the teeth.
We really have been kicked in the teeth for a while, and there's light at the end of the tunnel, thank goodness.
Yeah.
We're seeing that things are finally going to start going our way, I think. We're optimistic. COVID decimated everyone.
Just did.
And then us specifically impacted by Hurricane Ida. But prior to that, we went through a decade of cut after cut after cut from a budget standpoint. And that really set us back nationwide. That really set us back. So
Right.
we're gaining ground again, and our legislature is invested in us, and they're committed to funding us. So there's good things coming in higher ed.
And there's been those changes, and like you said, it's been some 10 to 12 years where we've really felt the strain, if you will, of providing quality education in an area that really has got so much to offer, and Nicholls has so much to offer. Just for me, I am the person I am today because of Nicholls State University.
Same.
Right?
I preach the same story. I am a product of that university as well, and I only left briefly when I graduated, maybe 6 months. I was working in industry here in Houma, and quickly had the opportunity to go back, and went back and never left. And I'm like I said earlier before the segment,
Right.
Coming up on 21 years. So that place has really made an impact on me professionally and personally,
Right.
Because of what a gem it really is.
Yeah. Look, Harvard on the Bayou is only a mere interpretation, or a small interpretation of what Nicholls is for our community. It is for our area, and certainly for the livelihood of all these students that are now going to have some better opportunities. And like you said, kind of coming out of the darkness, if you will, to be able to see that light. And then Ida hits.
And oddly enough, Ida was a setback, but we were able to take what we learned in COVID and shift really quickly in Ida. And I think out of all the bad that was COVID, a little bit of good came out of it for us. And Dr. Clune, I really applaud the job that Dr. Clune has done since he landed on our campus. His motto is, we can get by or we can get better. And even in COVID, that was his mantra.
Sure.
We can get by and we can get through COVID, and that's fine. That's what everyone's doing. Or we can get better. So we took the opportunity to get better. And by doing that, it allowed us to pivot for Hurricane Ida very quickly and really get us back online relatively quickly.
Yeah. And literally back online.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's what we take our lessons from COVID. We learned how to be able to skin this cat a little differently.
That's right.
How do we keep teaching? How do we keep educating? How do we keep students learning when we have a setback? And so COVID introduced us to how to deal with Ida. And again, it's all about the positivity. It's all about, I love that perspective, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not about getting by, it's about getting better. And quite frankly, we're all challenged to get better at what we do and how we do it. Some of those self-help gurus talk about the fact that if we can have a little bit better day to day than we did yesterday, then we're doing something right.
Yeah.
And that's what Dr. Clune has really challenged the staff to do it.
He challenges us individually to do that, but collectively as an institution, he wants to see us get better. And I feel like we're definitely doing that. In March of 2020, we essentially flipped a switch, and I applaud our faculty and our staff on that campus for they did what they had to do in very short order in order to keep providing for our students. We didn't shut down.
Nope.
We continued online. We flipped remote immediately,
Right.
so that students could continue learning. We know that that's important to them. That's their future. That's their careers, and we have to be there for them.
And you had to have the structure to do it. You had to have the infrastructure to do
That's
it.
exactly
that
right.
echoes what communications and those Department of Communications had been able to do, and to flip a switch and be ready for it.
We joke about the proverbial switch that we flipped, but really and truly it was like flipping a switch on a whole infrastructure. From going from what we pride ourselves on. We pride ourselves at Nicholls, and you know this as well as I do, for that personal touch. At Nicholls, you get to know your professors, and your professors know you by name.
Right. Yes.
Whereas at a larger university, you're not going to get that attention. And so we definitely pride ourselves on that. And so to have to flip to a completely virtual world should have been a setback for us, but it really wasn't.
Right.
Because our faculty went above and beyond to make sure that they were still reaching out, even though it was through a computer screen.
Right.
They were still reaching out and making sure those students were good.
And Jerad, just tell us what you learned with people and pets being displaced at Ida.
So immediately after the storm, our campus became a hub for first responders and the National Guard. But we quickly transitioned to becoming an oasis for the families of our students who were affected. Not only did we need to bring our students back on our campus, but in a lot of cases, their families lost everything. So we wanted to provide a space that was safe for them and comfortable for them. Well, you've also got to consider their pets. No college in Louisiana allows pets in their dorms currently. And so we saw that as we've got to provide for these pets. We're all very caring when it comes to pets.
Sure.
So in doing that, we saw an opportunity for pets to be that emotional support. We know that pets are emotional support for individuals. And so we saw this as an opportunity to shift and become the first in the state to offer pet-friendly dorms. And so beginning in the fall, we are going to allow I believe it's North Babington Hall, we're going to allow students to bring their cat or their dog to live with them. And no other university in the state is doing that.
Jerad, it's remarkable to eat, because you're taking what we learned that was not available after Ida, and you're putting it into an opportunity for, I know some kids that will learn better, they will be happier, and they will emotionally will make a huge difference on their learning experience at Nicholls.
Absolutely. And we want to create that space where people are going to benefit from that emotional support, but we also want to put a spin on it and allow people to learn how to properly care for those animals, so that could spin off into its own thing, and then also how to interact with other pets. I personally, I only have my dog, so I only interact with my puppy.
Right.
I may not know how to interact with a larger dog, so that's going to give them that opportunity to learn how to interact with other animals. I think it's going to be an overall just a great opportunity for Nicholls to grow and shine.
It really is. And look, the only thing I can think of, also a graduate of Nicholls State University, a friend of mine, when we went camping, we had to get our dogs introduced to each other.
That's right.
And this is another way, it's another level of socialization that I don't know that anybody else has on their radar.
That's right.
And because one of the things that we know with the advancement in technology like we have, some of our social skills have been thwarted a bit.
Absolutely.
Is that a light way to say that?
I think that is.
But this is going to allow for people and their pets to have personality and socialization where we wouldn't have prior.
I don't know about you, but anywhere that I am, I may not be so prone to just walk up to a stranger and introduce myself. But if they've got a dog, you better believe I'm walking up and saying, "Hey, can I pet your dog?"
Yes.
I'm Jerad David.
Yes.
So it is another opportunity for socialization that we really have lost a bit of due to technology, like you said.
Well, and COVID also kind of reinforced that as
Sure.
well, because as well of a job as Nicholls has done, making it very, very personal, just the system itself and just the virtual system depersonalizes a little bit.
It does.
And so now we've got this opportunity where, the quad completely changes
That's right.
the face of what Nicholls looks like. And I think, quite frankly, it'll be a happier place to learn. I can
think so.
imagine so many people out there with their pets.
Definitely. There's plans to open a bit of a dog park that will be just adjacent to Babington Hall. So
Wow.
those students who are living there will have a place for their dogs to go outdoors and play and have fun outside. But I think other individuals will be able to go and interact with their pets as well. So it does bring a whole nother aspect of socialization that no other college is offering.
One of the things that probably has never even been thought of, but in my family, we had a really bad experience when we were all younger kids. My aunt's dog bit my brother. He had a Halloween mask on. The dog was confused, bit my brother, and all of our family had been rather scared of animals. I'm just thinking that if there's any students that have had that history and where they didn't or wouldn't have warmed up to animals, you've had the same situation.
Personally, I was bit in the face
Oh,
as
my.
as a boy.
Wow.
And for years, I was petrified of dogs. And so had I had this opportunity going into college, I think I would have shifted to my love for animals that I have today a lot sooner if I would have been exposed to it in this way. So I think our students are going to get a really good opportunity from this.
What a big push, and that's just fantastic. I'm imagining so many really positive things coming out of this.
Definitely.
And so very, very cool. And so again, Nicholls is going to offer the very first in Louisiana, first pet-friendly residence hall in the fall.
That's right. And so a little bit of the details to start out with. We are going to offer it to returning students,
Right,
so sophomores, juniors, and seniors.
Right.
It'll be offered to get the program going.
Right.
I foresee maybe down the road it may open up to others, but
We're going to start with them.
we'll start with them.
Right. And probably a limited number to get to that point
Right.
until we can see and kind of feel how that program is going.
That's right.
But a wonderful start. Really learning from what has happened and how we move forward, taking a great positive spin on that, to the fact that you're going to have the very first pet-friendly residence hall at Nicholls State University, to now talking about the invitation for people to learn what it's like and what it would be like to come to Nicholls as we talk about Colonel Day.
Yes, Colonel Day is coming up later on this month. We will open our doors to high school juniors and seniors, sophomores even, if they want to come. To really get a feel of what we have to offer at Nicholls. Colonel Day, it always offers just really good energy and just a great showcase of the university. Our enrollment has been a little down as of late. It's a national trend.
Sure.
Universities across the country are struggling with enrollment right now, and we're trying to figure that out. And so we're making some changes to things like Colonel Day,
Okay.
to mitigate that. And right now, our applications for enrollment for the fall of 22, they're up. So we're anticipating that maybe our enrollment will be flat come this fall.
Okay.
Which we would absolutely take in this environment.
Absolutely, because it's been reduced for so long.
It's nationwide, everyone is struggling with this, and so we're making the changes to adjust and recruit those students that we need. We want to open those doors and have those students know the experiences that you and I both know that is
Right.
Nicholls.
Yeah.
We want to show them that personal attention that they're going to get. I myself, being a father of a high school junior, I'm going to have a very unique experience this Colonel Day. This is going to be my first Colonel Day on the other side of the aisle.
Yeah. So you get to be
as
dad.
a parent. So I'll
Right.
get to be dad for this Colonel Day. So that's going to be a new experience for me, seeing things through my son's perspective.
Right.
As an incoming student, we set up in the great recreation center on our campus, and there's an opening talk about what they're going to experience that day. But just prior to that, there's almost like an expo where departments and organizations and sororities and fraternities, they all come out and sort of showcase what they have to offer to those prospective students. And there are a lot of instances where a student may have been sold on another university, and they come to Colonel Day, and they sort of see that real personal touch that we put on things, and it really sways them. So if you know someone out there who is in high school and wanting to come to college, send them to Colonel Day. It's a changing experience.
And that's going to be on Saturday, April the 30th.
That's correct.
And that's going to be, and it's going to start at Pelche Auditorium on campus, or it's going to start in the...
I'm sorry, it is moving to Pelche Auditorium, so that is part of those changes that we're making.
Right. And again, like you mentioned it, it's important to
right.
kind of stay on top of that. We're always having to kind of adjust. One of
right.
those things that we do is kind of adjust to
That
figure
is
out
right.
what is best. And, you know, Pelche Auditorium, for a lot of us, I mean, that's a starting point.
That is.
You know?
It's where I started, and I'm sure it's where you started.
It's exactly where I started
that's
as
right.
well. And for me, the other thing about that for our Colonel Day is about the passion and the energy.
Yes.
And there's an energy about Colonel Day that really lets people know, hey, this is what Nicholls is about.
So it's absolutely that. Colonel Day is that opportunity to get a taste of that energy. I think what we are attempting to do is give a little hors d'oeuvre of that energy, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
and bring them in and show them some of the things. Then once they get to orientation, they really get all that energy.
Right. Right.
It sells the whole experience.
Yeah. And again, it's just about just helping people make up their minds. Just for us, it was probably about being from around here and being able, like, I could not think of going to a school as large as some of the other larger schools in the state.
That's right.
And, you know, and for me, the energy for me was, you know, being involved in some of the things that people want to be able to do. You know, I got to be a cheerleader at Nicholls, which is just remarkable.
Yes.
And some of the relationships built with some of that staff. And I'll tell you, and I'll echo to people at home, the relationship that I built with a lot of that staff exists today, some 25 years later, because of the attention that Nicholls pays to developing that personal relationship.
Yeah, I think that's said very well. I was a track athlete at Nicholls, where I would have not had the opportunity at many other schools, and to this day I am still friends with some of those teammates,
Mm-hmm.
all because of Nicholls. To this day, I'm friends with some of the classmates that I had in the mass communication program, and you hear that so many times, where you make connection with your classmates, but you also make and keep connections with your professors, and that's a rarity.
Mm-hmm. It really
that
is.
really does not happen at other universities, and I think that is by far our biggest selling point, is that personal attention that we pay to, and just a general care for the well-being of our students. We genuinely care. I tell people all the time, when I introduce myself, that I'm the guy who sends all of the emails, but it's like I have at any given moment 5,500 children, because
you're giving information
because I
to.
care,
Right.
And our professors echo that.
Right. And if you want to come out and fill out Colonel Day, it's on April the 30th. Anybody in high school can come out and figure that out. Jerad, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. And
Thank you.
Go Colonels.
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, go Colonels.
All righty. And that will do it for this particular segment of Bayou Time. Don't go anywhere. Love our local programming here on HTV.